Hi there, I'm Therese, and I was having some questions from people about chronic fatigue syndrome and how that presents in my body and what I did to kind of heal and just move my journey from being bedridden to I'm working and having a very fulfilling life. I was diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome about 11 years ago. Shortly after my daughter, she was 9 years old at the time, she was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. I had also just was going through a divorce and had moved provinces. And so there was a lot of stress going on in my body, and my body cracked. And that's what happens often when we are experiencing trauma and stress that overwhelms our systems, especially if there's something already underlying going on in our health. So when I got my diagnosis, I was probably napping 2 to 3 hours a day. I had help. We had a nanny come in to help with the kids because I wasn't able to do everything that was required of them. We were also homeschooling. So I needed that extra help with meals and with schooling and just keeping the house going. So I had support for quite a number of years with the kids, and I was very, very, very grateful to have that. We started out right away with researching different options, what we could do. And probably the first step I did was remove gluten and dairy. That was just like, okay, step one, just take that right out of the diet. So that helped to reduce some of the digestive issues that I was having, but it of course didn't change my overall wellness. So then we went through a whole journey of trying many, many different things. So I want to keep this pretty brief because I don't want to bore you. So I've just got a list of some of the things that we tried, and then I'm going to save the things that worked till after. So the things that we tried, definitely we worked with NATE. That's a natural allergy elimination technique. I think it might be called something else, but NAET is a process that we used. I napped regularly. I did thermography, castor oil packs, coffee enemas, kundalini yoga, body scrubbing, essential oils, mud baths, energy medicine, craniosacral, massage, physio, osteo, chiro, B12 injections, laser therapy, IMS. We also worked with a functional medicine doctor and a number of different natural paths throughout the years. Infrared sauna. I'm saying we because my husband also was coping with psoriatic arthritis. So a lot of the things that we did together, so that we were trying to heal both of our bodies. Infrared saunas. We did mold testing in the house to make sure there was no mold, and radon because that's pretty prevalent in our area. We removed Wi-Fi and Ethernetted everything through the power lines. We turned off our Bluetooth and the Wi-Fi as much as we could. I did injections with one called poly-MVA, which actually was really helpful for a couple of times that I took it. I took it a number of times, and maybe 2 of the sessions were really, really helpful. Removed mercury fillings. So those were the things that kind of I was doing on an ongoing basis, as well as supplements and things like that. So that prior to 2019, that was how I was managing, but not thriving. In 2019, we went to the Sophia Health Clinic with Dr. Klinghart in Seattle, and spent the year, went down a number of times to see one of the doctors there, and went on to their protocols full bore, which looked like 30 plus supplements a day, intense self-care protocols like bathing, mud baths every day, using infrared, biomatting, a Juve, we have a Juve as well, and a biomat. So if you don't know what any of these things, please feel free to comment or message me, and I can explain what these different pieces of equipment are. We did go heavy on equipment because we felt that was going to be maybe helpful. So through the course of 2019, the protocols ended up being way too severe for me, and I didn't gain any ground. I actually lost ground. And by December, I was like, I can't do this anymore. I threw out the supplements, didn't throw them out because they're expensive, but I put the supplements to the side and said, I'm just not, I just can't do this. I need a break. Went to Mexico for a couple of weeks and felt amazing. Like everything, like life came back into my body. And I was like, okay, how do I maintain this? I don't know if it was the ocean air or the sun or just, it was just good for me. And my husband and I had been talking about trying the carnivore diet. And I didn't even talk about diet. So we did every other diet. We've done AIP, paleo, raw, vegan, pretty much you name it, we've done it, and for long periods of time. So it wasn't like a 1 week, oh, 1 week I did vegan. No, it was like a year at a time, trying different diet options, and none that I really got huge results from. So in January 2019, I bit the bullet and said, let's try carnivore. What have I got to lose? So carnivore means that the foundation of your diet is based on meat. So the majority of what you're eating is meat. And so that's what I did. I took out every vegetable, every fruit, every carb, and I just focused on meat, primarily beef to start with. And that first week was incredible. So a week of doing carnivore, and I could feel life back in my body. I could feel energy. I was sleeping at night. My brain fog decreased, and it just progressed, continued to progress. All the benefits continue to progress from there. So we're over 18 months now of eating carnivore, and I just at this point can't imagine going back. I do try introducing things, so I'm eating a little bit of fruit. Veggies I haven't had success with introducing back in, so I'm going to stick with a little bit of fruit and mostly meat, because that's what my body really likes. I do use cannabis quite a lot in many different methods to address different symptoms. So if I'm experiencing pain or insomnia or anxiety or whatever other symptoms, I use a combination of many different types, formats of in cannabis, from ingesting it to inhaling it to using it topically, and that's been a huge benefit for me. So it's been cannabis, carnivore. I did Biophoton Therapy as well. So like December 2020 until about the spring of 2021, around May, did regular Biophoton Therapy treatments, which uses frequency and light to, it's really hard to explain, but it uses frequency and light anyway, and that was really powerful as well. And then in the spring, we got an ozone machine. So we make our own ozone now, and I use that daily, either drinking it or encephalating and putting it in my body. And saunas. So we just started saunas now that the weather has warmed. So Ozone Saunas. And that has been awesome as well. What the ozone feels like for me is, so carnivore has given me that resilience, and the ozone feels like an iron stake in the ground that I'm just hanging on to for dear life. So as the shit show is happening around me, it feels like ozone gives me that firm foundation of I'm not budging. We're not going to, just because a whole bunch of stress happened, I'm not going to fall off the wagon. And previously I wouldn't have that stamina. So if something stressful happened in the family, I would feel that, and my body would respond with more fatigue or more pain or whatever was the flavor of the day. So that's really been a lifesaver too, I would say, the ozone. And we bought our own machine because we're both using it as well. My son has Lyme, and so if we were all needing to get ozone treatment, it's way more affordable if we just buy it and do it on our own than paying to go to the clinic to do it. And then I also developed over the last couple of years a really consistent self-care practice, self-love and meditation practice. And I thought at the beginning, this is ridiculous. What is this going to do? I really don't know. I don't see any benefits. But now looking back, I'm so grateful that I stuck to it and just made the decision one day to start. And it can look like anything. It can look like a meditation. It can look like a stretch. It can look like breathing. It can look like just looking at nature. It can look like so many different things, but it's the opportunity for me to connect with myself, connect with something that's greater than me, and invite that in to heal and that has been remarkable. So that, along with energy healing, it's been powerful. So we are all so different, and we are all so unique, and all of the things that I have done, some of these might have worked for somebody years ago, where it's taken me over 10 years to find what's going to work. So I just encourage people to keep trying, if the new things come into your awareness and that feels right for you, give it a try and see if that's something that can help